Hello, Techie and
Hi.
Rose. So great to have you and as part of the post-pandemic pivot summit. This is such an honor to have such remarkable leaders, women joining us in the summit. So let me do a little introduction about the two of you so people get the scope of the honor that it is to have you among us today. So Rose, you're a lawyer, a storyteller, a social justice advocate, and a published author of the book, The Entrepreneurial Wonder Woman. And Techie Gutierrez, you are the entrepreneurial woman, entrepreneurial Wonder Woman in the flesh. And it is such a wonderful opportunity to have you among us today. As you know, the audience for this summit are people who have jumped into or pivot into entrepreneurship as a result of the pandemic. And many of us are just beginning our journey and trying to figure out how do we build a successful business. And having you both in this summit, it's so inspirational because you both are very accomplished entrepreneurs in your own right. And your story kind of like builds into each other. So I wanted to start with Rose and ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you decided to come up with the idea of writing this book?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, as you said, I'm a lawyer by profession. I practiced law for 10 years in California. But I really consider myself a social justice advocate now. So I didn't really um, pursue the traditional path of a lawyer. I did for 10 years, but then after that, I pivoted to nonprofit work and social entrepreneurship. I really consider myself a radical optimist for what ever it's worth. And I'm an avid writer. I write inspirational stories. I have a blog, rosecabrera.com, and I really share stories that give hope and challenge people to positive action.
And you wrote this book specifically about the trajectory of your sister. So tell why was it so important to write this book about Techi?
Mhm. Well, writing a book has always been on my bucket list for the longest time. And this book actually started as a birthday post because of the pandemic. I really felt I have to express my love and appreciation for people I love while they're still alive. so, I started making my birthday. So I've been doing it to all my siblings and loved ones. And I'm from a family of 12, okay? So anyway, for my sister, Etchi, I started writing my birthday post. And then I realized everything I wanted to say couldn't possibly fit in a post. It wouldn't do justice to her life and to the work that she has done. So then I said, okay, so I just got started writing. And that was earlier this year. Her birthday is on March 13th.
Yeah.
So I ended up publishing the book March 30th. So it took me about less than a month to do the book, but because I was so inspired and I really wanted to share her story. It was at the same time that I've always been inspired by this poem of Michael Josephson. It's called "What Will Matter," and I was thinking, who of the people I know really best exemplifies, is living out that kind of life, a life of significance. And of course, Techi, it was on the top of my list. And so my book was really applying that poem to her life.
That is very powerful and very touching. Techi, when you hear Rose talk about living a life of significance, you are the embodiment of an entrepreneur that has gone beyond just reaching their goals for your own enterprises, but you actually had extended your generosity to build sustainability for so many people through your experience. When you look back at your experience, what kept you going? Um, what kept you going in your trajectory, basing and while you face all those challenges?
Oh, most likely it's my advocacy, which is to bring the joy of God's love to many.
Mhm,
That is what keeps me going.
mhm. And
I be-
go ahead.
sorry,
Sorry.
I believe that God has showered me with a lot of blessings,
Mhm.
with a lot of with talents. And I want to share what I have learned to many so that I add value to them so that I can help them build their dreams.
Absolutely. And that is actually what we're trying to do in this summit, right? Help support others in their journey to building a life of success, building a life that they will love. So when you started your journey as an entrepreneur, tell us a little bit how did you start out in your entrepreneurship life?
Okay, actually, I was employed for 12 years in the biggest and pioneering courier company in the Philippines. I was so lucky that I was positioned as an executive assistant of the owner, where I had the opportunity to be trained in all aspects of the business. So my last assignment was very interesting. I was tasked to set up the international network of the company, and I opened a lot of branches in different countries. And my last assignment was to operate to set up a business in the states. So I relocated to California, and I set up 10 branches in 7 months in
Wow.
California. Yeah, for our company. It's actually a courier company, and we've catered to the money remittance and cargo services of Filipino immigrants and contract workers who are based in the States. So that was how I started. I had the luxury and the blessing of setting up several businesses for my boss.
Mhm.
That was how I started until I resigned after 12 years of employment. I resigned, I went back to the Philippines and set up my own.
So how you actually gained all these incredible skills through that process, and you were, in the front seat of learning how to run this business, and to add more challenges, you were in a foreign country, working with your community, but still you needed to learn all the rules and regulations of this foreign country. So when you went back to the Philippines, did you ever feel like, oh my God, am I really going to be able to do this?
Actually, I was full of confidence because whatever my boss assigned me, I gave him encouraging results.
Mhm.
But there was one thing that I overlooked, Claudia.
What was that?
I thought that that confidence and hard work were really enough to make the job easy. But
Mhm.
what I failed to realize was that the resources which I had, which is, I just,
Oops.
hello, sorry.
Yep.
Okay. The resources that I had, which was the financial resources that I had, which was just my lifetime savings from my employment, failed to match the requirements of the business that I went into. That was the real challenge that made my business very difficult.
So that's actually a really important piece of information, because most of us, we start with the very same dream, whatever it is that we are pursuing. We traditionally just look at what we know or what we're good at and start building a business. But often, either if it's money or skills, we have gaps into our vision. So in your case, how were you able to overcome that and continue with your strong confidence that you were going to succeed?
Oh, Claudia, it was a hard climb.
Mhm.
I the struggles were really overwhelming, and because if you lack the resources, uh, it became more difficult. You
Mhm.
could not hire top-notch employees. You could not equip yourself with the equipments, with the technology, because Claudia, I entered into a business which was male dominated by big companies. So I I entered into a business where I became the David in the Goliath industry.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, it was really a lot of hard work, determination, and the desire to achieve
Mhm.
uh, that really put me into where I am now.
So it's really about your mindset, right? You have had very, very strong mindset. It makes me think about, again, often when we start out, sometimes people just give up within the first year or their career, or even months within starting a business. You were facing real challenges because for all the issues that you already described. What were some of the practices that you implemented to keep yourself focused on your goals?
Oh, first of all, Claudia, and I think Rose will agree with me because she herself was an entrepreneur, is an entrepreneur.
Mhm,
It should be very clear to you what is the role of a leader.
mhm,
A leader uh, um, should be a source of inspiration. A leader should inspire. A leader should should influence and should reorganize, re-energize employees. Okay, a leader is supposed to create the spirit. Is supposed to create an environment that is conducive, so employees bring out their best.
mhm,
And that for me is very important. A challenge of becoming a leader, and of course, I had to equip myself with the skills that is required of a leader, which is planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. So easily said, but it's a very difficult job. Like, for example, in planning, a lot of entrepreneurs fail to plan. When you fail to plan, you will plan to fail. Actually, it's 50% of the task is done with proper planning. And then when it comes to leadership, as a leader, you have to lead hands on, especially during the start of the business. You cannot just delegate, and leave everything to your employees, especially during startup, Claudia. One has to take the lead. And by leading, it means that you're able also to organize. So you have to have the proper structure. You have to to see to it that all the resources are complete. And equally important is the ability to control. That is very important, Claudia, in any business, because no matter how big your sales is, but if you do not have the proper controls, you are doomed to disaster. So you have to minimize the risks. That is very important in a business, especially in our business, because we are a service-oriented company, and we operate in 50 provinces nationwide, and we have over 600 employees. So the shipments that we deliver are valuable shipments. So everything has to be monitored from start to end. That is why controls have to be our lifeblood.
it sounds like for you, leadership, the constant desire for learning and growing and having a clear vision for your business is what has gotten you moving forward and experiencing the success that you're experiencing today. But obviously has not been an easy road. And I guess that is the message for all of us, right? It's not, in most, if you really want to build a sustainable business, you need to have the endurance and the vision and the leadership to get to where you're
That,
going.
that's very true, Claudia. In my experience, one of the most important quality of an entrepreneur is resilience.
Mhm,
Your ability to overcome challenges, your persistence, your tenacity, because no business is easy.
mhm.
You know,
That's so true.
uh, yes. So you really have to have a you have to have a strong determination and couple it with hard work and with a proper attitude. So these are very important.
It also sounds that you were very good about finding mentorship and guidance. Um, who did you look to in the early stages? How did you find the right connections, the right mentors to guide you through the process?
Claudia, I was so blessed. First of all, my mentor with my previous employer, he was my boss for 12 years. He's Mr. Carlos Araneta. And I really looked up to him because he gifted me with so much skills,
Mhm,
and that I brought along with me,
mhm,
especially hard work, determination, and a lot of other skills that are needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So that is one of my mentor, my most important mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Claudia, I did not confine myself to his mentorship. I mentored myself also. I know nonstop I had to learn, I had to grow because I always believe in growth mindset. So
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I kept on learning. I never let an opportunity pass, a day to pass without me growing. So that is also very key in being able to sustain your business.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nothing more powerful than your own mindset. And that brings us, interesting enough, to Rose. Because, Rose, you obviously have a strong mentorship in your sister and strong pathway to follow and to go after your dreams. I think if I had that sister, I will be like, oh my God, I gotta like achieve the best, right? So, so Rose, for you, you are also, as that you mentioned, a successful entrepreneur. I mean, most of us will say, what? You were a lawyer on your way to become a judge? How, what? Why did you leave that pathway? Yet something called you to leave that pathway. And how did you make that first transition? How do you manage that process from, yes, I'm going to leave my successful career to start from ground zero?
Well, actually, let me qualify what you said, that I'm a successful entrepreneur because it's very much work in progress.
I think we are all work in progress.
And even more so because when you say successful, it kind of like connotes anyway. But big thing for me is really living a life of passion and purpose.
Mhm.
And yes, I enjoyed my job as a lawyer. I really wanted to be a judge. That was my goal. But I just felt calling uh towards really doing something um to open doors, to connect the disadvantaged with the resources that are out there. And I saw that in the work of this foundation that I led in the US. It's called GK, Gawad Kalinga. And eventually I set up another foundation called Giconomics, which is to sustain the work of Gawad Kalinga. So with Gawad Kalinga, we built communities, transforming slums into productive communities, but we have to sustain that. And for us, we saw social entrepreneurship as the way to do that. So I became a social entrepreneur myself. I set up a travel cafe, a social tourism enterprise in Manila, and it operated for 6 years. I've been also working on a number of, because with Geconomics, we are a platform in facilitating social impact investments. So I also really I'm incubating a number of other social enterprises in the hopes that other social entrepreneurs will take it on. So I was involved with particularly about four of them, more aside from the social tourism enterprise. It was called Mabuhay Rest Stop. I We had a creative educational playground playground sets using upcycled tires business. It was called Play Tires. We have a vegetable pasta enterprise called Gulife. We had like a marketing company called Assam that bridges communities, the disadvantaged communities, to markets. And then we also had an education technology enterprise called Click Me, Click Mobile Education. So, you could see it's really a lot. And that's, of course, a lesson for everybody is, yes, you want to do so many things, you think you can do it all, but you can't. So now, like all these other, although I really love each and every enterprise so much, I cannot realistically manage all of them and make them fly. uh so it's hard enough with just one, right? With just one business. So what, imagine all the more. So I'm focused on Click Me right now. That's the edtech enterprise. And I'm hoping that for the other social enterprises, we're still working on them very slowly, especially because of the pandemic. But maybe in time, that somebody else can really take it on and make it fly, because these are very promising businesses as well. But yeah, so that's really my journey right now. The Hopefully, uh the Click Me now is taking up, like almost all of my time. and it's very exciting. It's 8 years. It's been 8 years in the making. So you can just imagine. Yeah.
So you're sharing like a couple of really valuable notes with us. One, you embody the true entrepreneur, right? As an entrepreneurs, we're often thinking about what's the next idea, what's the next activity, and you actually are showcasing what Techi so brilliantly mentioned, right? The ability to take action. You went out and you're creating all these opportunities, not only for yourself, but for a larger community that could benefit from opportunities to have their entrepreneurship dreams come to fruition, to explore them. And you go even farther because you are extending yourself to help a community that may really need to get the skills and the exposure necessary to thrive. Um, so, what keeps you going? I mean, you have been going at it for 8 years, and a lot of things. That's another very valuable point of context because we often think in immediate success, right, and overnight success. But as Techi mentioned, and as you was mentioning, we must be committed to whatever activity we are doing in order to succeed. But what keeps you going?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, of course, persistence really is the key, right? Failure is the father of success.
That's
So,
right.
whatever failures or challenges I encounter, I try not to, let them keep me down, because you just keep getting up every time you fall, and believe in yourself. Have the confidence uh, that it has to be balanced, because sometimes you can be too stubborn to learn from your mistakes. It's too
Mhm.
much pride that you think your way is the right way. But so have that balance, that you're confident, you believe in yourself, you believe in what you want to do, but at the same time be open to learn,
Mhm.
be open to grow. um and I think that that they always say, uh um people fail because they are a step short from from the success that they're supposed to have.
Right. Just
So
right before when you're reaching success, people will
yeah,
like turn
yeah.
off.
So give and I am very faith driven.
Mhm.
I really believe that God is arranging is the master planner of all this, and we are but His instruments. And so
Mhm.
I see everything that happens through the eyes of faith, and
Mhm.
that keeps me going a lot.
If I have this question for both of you. If tomorrow you will wake up and you have lost everything, all the work that you have done, what would be the 3 steps that each of you would take to restart your life?
Let you go.
There's three steps to restart my life.
So let's see that Techi, in a horrible situation, you lost your business, you lost everything, and you needed to
Okay.
start all over again. What are
Okay.
the 3 steps that you will take to start a new enterprise, to start a new life again?
Okay. First of all, um, this is a very challenging question, Claudia.
It is, but you're a master.
First of all, when I have lost everything, I will surely find something that is not lost,
Mhm,
because I always see an opportunity in any crisis that I am faced with.
mhm,
So for me, crisis is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to find something beautiful.
mhm,
Okay, so I will see what I still have. If
mhm,
I'm sure God is not deprived me of my talents, I'm sure God does not deprive me of my drive to achieve, my drive to be of value, to add value to many. And that is where I will start. Okay. So I will build, I will rebuild, and I will learn from the past. Definitely, because all our failures, as Rose has mentioned, um, failures are just opportunities to learn. So, and humility, actually, humility is so important. Humility, being able to ask for help from others, and the attitude to serve others, that is so important. So, that is how I will start. I will rebuild myself. I will continue my drive. And I will, because in everything that I do, it has to have a purpose. I have to fulfill a need. And if I have to start all over again, I will find an opportunity to be of service to many. So it's not only in my business that I can serve many. There are a lot of other opportunities where I can use my God-given talents for the benefit of others. That is how I will make use of what I've lost.
This is why you are the entrepreneurial Wonder Woman, because in a few seconds, you just gave us a recipe for success, right? So you tell us that we should identify the opportunity. We should look at our talents. We should look at adding value to others. We should have humility, and we should know our purpose.
Yeah.
If we follow that recipe, that is a recipe for success in whatever endeavor we are engaging. So that now, Rose, this is a hard answer to follow, but I know you
I was
have it
gonna
in
say,
you.
yeah, she's just gonna copy her answer.
I
No,
know.
seriously, but in addition to what she said, really, I believe you never really lose everything. There's always something there. There's always going to be something left, and so you find that. And my mantra, one of my mantras in life is very easy. It's called chill. Chill. Don't sweat the small stuff. Life is too short to be spent stressing on things that ultimately don't matter. And to me, yeah, you might have lost everything, but then don't focus on that. Focus on what it is you have and build from that. And to me, again, it goes back to my faith, no, right? That there there is always, when God closes a door, he opens a window. I believe that very strongly, and it has happened to me in my life all this time. No, do you know that I won a car when I sold my Benz? Yeah, the same day. The same day.
What?
See, so that's why I just really am very passionate about sharing my testimonial about how everything works out in God's time. And so don't give up, because yeah, so I was trying to simplify my life, because with our work in social entrepreneurship and in the foundation, you have to simplify, live simply so others may simply live, and less for self, more for others, enough for all. So I was driving around in a Benz, Mercedes Benz, before, when I was a lawyer. And so part of the simplifying my life is giving that up, because I could get around in another car, a Honda, or whatever. So that's what I did. But the same day that I sold the Mercedes Benz, an hour after that, I got a call from another friend saying I won first prize in a raffle.
Oh my goodness.
And the raffle first prize was, guess what? It's a car.
Oh my gosh.
A Honda though, but it's okay. I never won anything in my life, even those scratchers and all. But to me, that was really a powerful affirmation that you just seek the right path and it will follow. It's hard, but just have that faith and believe.
It is incredible what you both share, right? Because we often feel, many people who are part of this summit are experience exactly what you're saying, right? Or believe that we lost everything. We might have lost a job, we might have lost a career, and we find ourselves starting out again at whatever age, at whatever point in our lives, with a new enterprise or a new idea or a new dream to build a life. But your words are so impactful because you're actually giving us the recipe, right? So you say that you could focus in really living a simple life, to ensure that we can have the possibility to enrich somebody else's life. I can't believe that. It is so funny that you want that car, but it really speaks about your faith. It speaks about your vision, right? You didn't say, well, I'm going to do this and I'm sure I'm going to win a car. You just move. You went into action, but you have a vision and a plan for what you both have to do. This has been incredible, inspirational. You have given us a shot of confidence, a shot of vision, and you are giving us a roadmap to follow as we all build our future life. Rose and Techie, you're both so committed to social entrepreneurship. Tell us a little bit, how can we stay in touch with you and where can we learn more about you? Below this video, there's a link for the book. So if anybody has not gotten the book yet, they can get the book right away because it will change your perception and it will strengthen your mindset. But where else can we stay in touch with you all?
Mhm. Well, our organization is called Geekonomics. So there's our website, geekonomics.org. But we're particularly focused, and Tetchi's kind of entry point into social entrepreneurship is this social edtech enterprise, educational technology enterprise that we're working on. It's called Click Me, Click Mobile Education. Website right now is clickmobileeducation.com. And what it is, what Techi's role, because what we're doing is bridging the millions and millions of out of school youth and adults in the Philippines towards productivity. So taking them out of poverty and equipping them with the skills necessary to be able to succeed in life. So it's a very simple model, really, just providing them with the tools to get a high school diploma, providing them with digital literacy skills, um, and of course connecting them with jobs. So Techi's company, she has Abus Express. It's a courier company in the Philippines. She has over 700 employees, like a network of over 100 branches nationwide. um, they've been willing, and they're committed to hire the completers of our program. So that's a very significant step for us to have companies who are willing to invest in the people, because these people have been forgotten. They dropped out of formal schooling, they're not going to go back to school, and not, very limited resources are being poured into how to help them, but they comprise like at least what 40-30% of the Filipino population. So Click Me is an ambitious effort to really stem that tide. And Techi and her company is playing a big role. She's championing now Click Me with her network, her vast network of business owners, other SMEs and companies. And so she's been helping open the doors. And she's also like going to be reviewing all our materials to make sure that the training and all the lessons we're imparting to the learners are really relevant, and will help them in the corporate world. So, Ate Touch.
That is
Yeah.
incredible. Incredible. So you
Yeah.
are obviously, as successful entrepreneurs, always working in bringing success and excitement to the next generations and all your community around you. I cannot thank you enough for your time today, for joining us, for providing so much inspiration, for providing us a recipe, for ensuring that we are investing in our growth mindset and we set a clear vision for your pathways. Thank you both for your time today.
Thank you,
It's our
Claudia.
honor, Claudia.